finally, now with the NFC South, we have the division leader from last year, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here. Lock in Baker Mayfield after a stellar season here, making like a comeback in his career. He was kind of at his last stop, you would think here, even though he did perform fairly well for Los Angeles. It was kind of funny. I think that one comeback game where he did get kind of thrown in there, if he did not play as well as he did, I mean, it's lights out. But, for not knowing the playbook very long and playing that kind of backyard football, it ended up playing to his strengths, and he performed very well enough to get that starting job here for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And where we said that the Saints here kind of reeling at times when they were missing on offense, he kind of stepped up here and got this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team where I thought they were going to kind of take a little step back, after missing Tom Brady and things like that. Just dialed it back in and made a push and made the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting too is like I don't know if you noticed this, Jim, but like the D coordinator isn't just one guy.
Yeah, we noticed that.
It's Casey Rogers and Larry Foote as DC. When we all know that Todd Bowles is the DC. Todd Bowles, that's his bread and butter. That's what he's doing. Maybe we give them a little credibility for the defense, and that's why they list them as D coordinators.
There was a few teams that did that last year. I think the Patriots did too. When Belichick was there, he named like two different defensive coordinators, and like they're sharing roles.
Here's an olive branch.
Yes,
you get to be on the staff.
Yeah, right.
New offensive coordinator though, Liam Cohen. So I wonder how much different it's going to be for this offense with Baker Mayfield, who had tremendous success. And now you have a different offensive coordinator, usually has a little different view on how to run an offense. So will that lead to maybe Baker Mayfield, not playing as well or playing the same? So we'll have to wait and see on that. But one thing that we've noticed is that the age of the receiving corps is rising. Mike Evans agrees to a new deal.
Mm-hmm.
Originally with the team since 2014, got drafted by them. Chris Godwin, another guy who's aging, getting older. They managed to add some youth here with Jalen McMillan, draft pick in the third round, who they're hoping is right now pegged as a starter. But there's other guys that are kind of vying for the job. And sure enough, Jim, I know you hate this guy, but Sterling Shepard is on the roster, has found a home, and I'm curious to see just how much of a player or how much time he's going to get on the football field. Having been behind Chris Godwin, we all know Godwin doesn't stay the healthiest,
right?
So they got themselves an insurance policy at least there, and that's going to be interesting because if they do, in fact, with Mike Evans now getting older, he was banged up here and there last year. Chris Godwin missed some significant time last year. Imagine both those guys being injured, and now your starting lineup is guys like Jalen McMillan, Sterling Shepard, and one of the other younger guys like Rakim Jarrett, Trey Palmer.
Yeah.
So
yep,
that's a little concerning to me.
Yeah, I mean that you kind of hit the nail on the head here. Mike Evans, again, he was contemplating, walking away, whatever, on another contract. He's 31. They did do a deal with him that was very friendly, like basically a 2-year extension, then the rest are void years.
Mm-hmm.
So just so in case they make that push again, you've got the lightning in the bottle that is Baker Mayfield. And then after that, if this whole team implodes, he's out of it, and you're probably looking at Todd Bowles being out of it as well. Like you said, the wide receivers thing, they didn't want to tackle that right now. They still had the veterans there. They do go and draft that rookie, but they did focus on center because that is the one major thing with Jensen no longer being there. That's what they kind of focused on and got Graham Barton, in the first round. So wide receivers, I think they're good for now. And this is what this team is basically saying. We're going in, putting all of our chips right now in with what Baker Mayfield is right here for 2 years. This is a 2-year deal on everybody. I'd say at least, these older guys on, the head coach too, and Baker Mayfield. We did really well last year. It looked really well. We played well. We played well enough to take this division, and they did fairly well in the playoffs too. I mean, they weren't getting, the crap kicked out of them. So I thought they were competitive. I think just they're just kind of seeing what this can kind of take them. This is like their new thing. They weren't sure if they were going to go right to a rebuild after Tom Brady. It's kind of like a retool, see what happens, and then we'll rebuild after that.
Yeah, and they've seen the results already. Like they won the division. They did what they did. They did what they could do. But now that they know what direction they're headed, I was hoping, and that was a major concern, is that interior line, that they were going to address that heavily. Now, they did draft Graham Barton, you're correct.
Yes.
AKA baby hands.
Yes.
And short arms. So I'm curious to see how that works out. But Ben Bredesen they signed from the Giants.
You want to talk about a guy I hate? They got two guys that I hate.
Hold on. I just have to say, well, Ben Bredesen, you can't hate him for sucking. Like the guy's just not that good. And I'm curious why Tampa would go out and address that need with Ben and not someone else. Not even like, okay, you drafted Graham Barton in the first round. What about the second round? Drafting a guard. What about that? Really securing that offensive line, because that to me is Graham Barton. I still have questions on. I'm waiting to see if they get answered this in the regular season. Ben Bredesen, we know what he is. He's not very good. So now that you have two guys that are in question coming into this year, they're not like seen as guys that, okay, 100%, you guys hit it out of the park. You got your answers. So I still worry about this offensive line. Now, obviously, you don't have to worry about Tristan Wirfs. You don't have to worry about Cody Mauch or Luke Gedicke and all that.
Mm-hmm.
You're okay there. But those two guys, if they don't pan out, if they don't improve, then we might be talking about this whole scenario all over again next season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely, Joe. I mean, that's the thing too, is because you got Baker Mayfield now. Yes, good thing for him. He can get out of the pocket, because that's one thing you did notice that they did with him when they did this design the offense. And like you said, they got all the offensive coordinator. So you hope that they keep in mind bootlegs, get him out of the pocket, because again, he's shorter and doesn't have that vision. And this is the issue that he had when he was with Cleveland too. And Kevin Stefanski seemed to kind of dial that in a little bit, but still, Baker Mayfield a little reckless with the arm, making a few too many mistakes, and his wide receivers kept getting injured on top of it. Get him out in space, make some plays with his legs, and that's where he's able to kind of excel in some of these kind of running back, options and things like that too, and hand the ball off. And look at the running back situation. It's different too a bit, except for Rashad White here, who looks fairly good too. But they do go and draft Bucky Irving in the draft too. And they bring in Chase Edmonds here, who's, he's been banged up too before, and a bit of a veteran, but this team has kind of ran off of this type of deal too. It's almost like running back by committee for a while.
Yeah, I mean, it was Rashad White last year for the most part, and it looks like it's going to be that again. I've never been a huge fan of Rashad White. I think he's decent. It's not like he just can't handle the job there, but I just haven't been, impressed at all. Like, to me, he seems like he's just like an average running back and doesn't have any like big time years for the Buccaneers. He's kind of like just like you're a utility player in the lineup, like. We use you when we feel like, and then, the big plays are made with Baker Mayfield and throwing the football. So now that they've added Bucky Irving this year, Bucky Irving is a much different running back than people might, be wondering about here, because he's not your typical run between the tackles type of guy. This is a guy that you want to give the ball out in the open, because he is like a joystick on the football field. Very hard to tackle in the open, has a very strong base. He's hard to trip, but man, is he quick and elusive. Guy makes a lot of people miss in college. He's going to look to do the same in the NFL level. And he's just quick. He's fast. And I kind of wonder, I'm hoping anyways, that they utilize maybe 2, maybe 3 backs, but I want to see Bucky Irving in like those, even in like second down plays, third down plays, where you just kind of just zip it out to him real quick and watch him work. Like, I just think that this kid can be something of a high value as a receiver out of the backfield. And you mentioned Chase Edmonds. Chase Edmonds has been a veteran guy. but when he's healthy, he's actually a pretty good player. Like he's actually started for Arizona Cardinals at one point in time, and I think he could do it again. I'm curious to see if this is actually is it in fact a running back by committee, or is it with the new additions now? Is this more like they want to see who wants to win the job? Is this open for competition here in training camp? That'll be curious to see. We all know Mayfield's going to start. Cade Otton, we got to bring him up.
Yeah,
not enough people bring this guy up. This guy has been a very good tight end for Tampa Bay, but isn't really spoken about. But he's solid. He can block. He can receive. So I like that. I like that the fact that they still have Cade Otton, and I think he's going to pay huge dividends, obviously, for Baker Mayfield. That's one of his favorite targets. Mike Evans, and then I feel like Cade Otton's like right there behind him. So it'll be curious to see how this offense is ran with Tampa Bay this year.
Yeah. And looking at the defense, one thing that, Todd Bowles has to be, kind of taking, the credit for, and things, and not doing too bad and holding points off. They kept them in games. But again, the yardage has been killing them. But a lot of different faces, on this team, and guys that are gone. I mean, you don't have Shaquille Barrett anymore. You don't have Devin White anymore. You don't have Neal anymore. So some of these guys are gone. So
Barrett retired.
Yeah.
Like, I'm surprised. I thought he still had some gas in the tank.
I thought he would still make another run of it the way this team was. Why not? At least one more
shot. Or to
another
team. He was a free agent.
Yeah. Why not? But again, Lavonte David, the veteran, that was one of my. You want to talk about how long ago we did that IDP? Lavonte David was my other linebacker. I had Lavonte David, young Lavonte David, and KJ Wright as my linebackers. It was pretty awesome at the time. But yeah, here we go. A different look on the defense here, but you still have your veterans here in Jamel Dean and Antoine Winfield. Dean really kind of came into it. He kind of was like trial under fire. This guy came in young and then kind of put to the test. People pick on him a little bit, but has really come into his own. And now he's there at that starting spot at the corner position. But they do bring in Bryce Hall from the Jets, so too. I thought he would have been a nice move for the Jets here too. But when he was on the team, but they did get more depth on their side as well. So now he's over here with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But veteran Vita Vea, looked really good last year too. Trying to stay healthy. And KJ Britt's still a big contender here on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, what's the biggest playmaker for them on the D-line is Vita Vea. That guy is just unblockable. He is a beast. I mean, I've seen him take on double teams and just kind of steamroll through them to get to the quarterback. And he's supposed to be a nose tackle.
Right.
He's not supposed to be the guy that creates the pressure, but that dude can play. I look for him to continue the success along with Kalijah Kancey, who they drafted in 23. That dude's been a menace. So those two guys side by side, they're creating problems every week. Other than that, when you look at their DNs, like I'm not impressed. I'm not excited about like Logan Hall. I don't think he's done enough to show anything. Joe Tryon is in question this year. Joe Tryon, they drafted in 21 in the first round, mind you, in hopes of him becoming another stud pass rusher. And I just haven't seen it. Like I've seen some decent plays from him, but I haven't seen any consistency of creating pressure and getting after the quarterback and whatnot. The linebacking core, I'll say, has improved by subtracting Devin White. And some Buccaneers fans might not like that idea, but it is in fact true. The guy was limited in the capacity, he couldn't cover nobody. The guy, what's interesting is that he ran a 4.40, is fast. It's not like he's slow, but for some reason, the guy can't cover nobody. Can't cover tight ends, can't cover, slot receiver. He just can't cover. The only thing he's been really good at is stopping the run, and that's it. He's a one-trick pony at linebacker. Good, I would say good riddance, Tampa Bay, and you've improved your linebacking core because now you're running this 3-4 scheme. You got Lavonte David, veteran, is playing at a high level, even at his age. KJ Britt, who's going to add some tenacity to your linebacking core. And then everybody overlooks this guy, Yaya Diaby. This dude is going to be an absolute hurricane off the edge. Yeah, he's going to be insane. I think he's going to get double-digit sacks. I really do.
I think he's creeping on there too as well. Again, like you said, you want to talk about underrated players or people that, kind of unspoken, people don't really notice. I was going to say the same thing. Yaya Diaby, 7.5 sacks last year, and to creep on double digits this year, especially with Shaq Barrett gone.
Yeah, even with now you look at the formation change. Dude, Yaya Diaby was getting in the backfield against one-on-one against the tackle. Now this guy is going to be they're going to be releasing the hounds off the edge, where sometimes you just got to flat out beat the dude around the corner. And then other times you might get a free rush where this dude is going to light it up. So I can't wait for that. And then we look at their secondary real quick. A lot of same faces, but a couple new ones. Jordan Whitehead locking up the safety. Antoine Winfield Jr. Can this dude just stay healthy for once?
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like what gives? What are you not doing that you're supposed to be doing in the offseason to prepare your body for war, to prepare your body for the long season? I mean, this dude keeps getting these nicks and missing a little bit of time here, sometimes more time. You're driving fans crazy here. Stay healthy this year and be the baller that you are. Jamal Dean, Zion McCallum, to me, I'm curious to see, like, there's been raving reports about this kid coming on, starting on as a left corner. And then you got Jamal Dean, obviously, like I mentioned, and then Christian Easonin, nickel corner. I'm curious to see what he can bring to the table, because he's another young guy who right now is penciled in as a starter. And I still think that maybe a guy like Tyke Smith could kind of push him a little bit in training camp, but we'll have to wait and see. But I just got to say, Tampa has a nice team, but I don't think it's any better than last year's team. Like you might have some trade-offs, right? Like we just mentioned, like defensively, I think defensively they got better, but offensively, did they really get better? We have to wait and see.
Stayed the same in a sense. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how this division all shakes out.
Hey everybody, this is Big John from Grumblings Media, and I just want to say thank you for watching our content. If you want to support our efforts here at Grumblings Media, just smash the subscribe button right here, totally free, or just go ahead and consume more of our great content. Click either one of these two boxes.